Welcome back to the channel and the final episode in our Parkland design series, and in this one we're going to be doing a final playtest of pin 4 as well as tidying up any issues that may have happened. Now I've done a couple of bits since you were last with us, so mostly the changes have just been smoothing out greens, so around that pin for example, and we've also done little bits of heavy rough, checking some sight lines. And the other thing that I did was removed the internal out of bounds around 15 because I just didn't like how that was going to play and it felt a touch gimmicky. Actually, I've just missed one of the OB markers, so we'll remove that now. So yeah, otherwise I'm pretty happy with how it all plays, how everything has gone. Balanced the pins as well. I changed the par on one of the holes 13. This one had just gotten to become a par 4 rather than a 5. So yeah, all we're going to do for this one is just give it a final play. I've played all of the pins other than pin 4, so we're going to go with that. We're going to go high winds and from the west, so we'll give that a go and see what crops up, and I will start the timer now. So the first hole, it's nothing spectacular, it's not really meant to be, but you can see the bunker as I intended it, and I think for this one we'll just go with a 3-wood up the middle. Means it's a slightly longer approach in. As you can see, everything feeds the ball left, which is what we would anticipate. And then you've got this pin in a little pocket. I don't think it needs to be too fancy, but we've got a backstop up there if we can throw it past. Let's see. Hopefully should come back. Oh, it's just stuck up on top. You can see how that would come back. Now, I could spend a lot of time trying to get every single bead flowing the right way, so you can see there's one stubborn one just up by the pin, just there. But it's really hard to get them all moving, and often it does make things a bit more difficult for the players anyway, if you do that. So I'm fine with not all of them. And plus you just look at it from a different angle and it might be slightly different. So anyway, as ever with these rounds, I need to flatten that tee. That was something I had noted before, so we'll just tighten that up again. As before, I'm not playing for score. One thing I did contemplate doing was widening the fairway on this one over on the right side. I don't know whether anyone would use it, and I wish I could get it so that maybe we need to widen it on the left. No, it's just a bad swing. But it'll be interesting to see how it plays from here. Now this pin's one that I'm slightly worried about. Yeah, that's probably a bit more sloped than I would like, so we'll go back in and we'll flatten that one just a touch. It's basically all coming off that right shoulder, which was part of making that work. And as you can see, if you roll onto that green with no spin, it is just going to keep going all the way through to the back, which is fine. I mean, that is the defence of the hole. Everything from here looks okay. Smash the putt past. Yeah, I have no concerns about what I shoot when I'm playtesting, because I'm not really playing or thinking about the shots I'm hitting. It's literally just seeing how the ball reacts, what happens. Is there anything grabbing my eye? So the bogey doesn't make a blind bit of difference. 3. Again, I need to flatten the tee. I should have done that beforehand, but forgot. Pretty happy with how this one works. Now it might be that if you end up a little short on your tee shot, or if you have a shorter driver, you may end up being blind, but it's kind of unavoidable. Otherwise I have to just really work the fairway and you end up really close. So I think it'll be fine. There's other tee sets to use if needed. All of the beads here look absolutely fine. One of the larger greens. 167 is a good speed. I think it's quite quick. You could drop them down to 155s pretty easily. Alright, this one's probably the most challenging pin on this green. This is the uphill par 3. Pretty good swing though. So the aim is... okay, yeah, it does feed it left, which works nicely. So you don't have to take on all of that challenge. It will help a shot that's not quite as good get a little closer. Still can't hold a putt though, but nice view down 13 there. Not seeing anything I'd really want to change on that one. Now 5, I have just extended the fairway a little bit left of that bunker, just to entice people to hit driver a little bit more, like So that should roll out pretty nicely. This has become a low-key favourite hole. Now one thing I might want to think about is we've got a front pin here again, and you had a front pin on 2 as well. It's whether I want to repeat the same idea twice within a couple of holes. I think we'll probably try and switch that if I can do. Okay, on to 6. So, tee shot here frames pretty nicely, no concerns with that. Be interesting to play it with this wind because I've not missed the fairway right yet. Here we go. Oh good, I was wanting to see how these worked. So there's a little depression just off that side of the fairway, which will mean it's a slightly more challenging recovery shot. The good thing about playing, when you play test, you must try when you're out of position as well, because you want to see what happens when you are miles out and what those layup areas look like. Okay, slightly twisty putt, but that should be fine. Again, there's a few beads turning, but nothing crazy. That's fine. Good view down 7. I did toy with bringing the grasses in all the way to the bunkers on the left hand side, but kind of felt if I did it there then I'd have to do it everywhere, and I really don't want to do that. And I also quite like the stripped back nature of this course. This is a good shot to be able, so it's nice to have missed the fairway here because the ball's going to release a little bit more. Oh, I've taken the wrong club. Whoops. So whilst I could play from here, I know that shot works. The one I really want to test is back from here and rolling the ball on. So let's go up to 6. Might be a little too much. Yeah, that's come out really well. Okay, so you can throw it all the way there and get pretty close. So that's one way of doing it. All of those breaks look fine. At this stage, the main thing I am looking for is breaks around the pin. Everything else I've kind of cleaned up. That should be the shot. Bounce on. Yep, so the bounce takes it just gently to the right, which is what I would want to happen. Again, kind of helping. Not seeing anything major there I'd want to change. Could work at the sculpting behind the bunker, but I don't think it's too much of an issue. 8 then, which has probably become the most challenging of the par 3s, I think, although 14 may rival it with the downhill nature of it. Oh, might end up in the bunker, which would be good. I haven't seen that. There's a little bit of sculpting in that bunker I don't love, so we might come back to that. Yeah, we'll make a note. That works out pretty well. Okay, 9. Again, pleased with the sight line because I can see both the bunkers off the tee, which hasn't always been the case. This one going heavily downhill, even if it doesn't really feel like it, it's just a good example of how I think you can make elevation change not feel extreme. This is 50 feet down and it doesn't, I wouldn't say it necessarily feels like that at all. Okay, there's a bit of helping slope to work the ball inwards. Nothing I dislike in the sight line. You can catch a little bit of the backdrop still, but on that, but only if you're looking for it, and it's really unavoidable. Okay, that will do nicely. Oh no, overhit it. Okay, again, still a little bit of slope around the pin, but that's fine. This looks much better now I've moved the tee further to the right. Really happy with how it sets up. Yeah, that top tier is going to need a little bit of work, so we'll make a note on that. Just a bit too much orange in and around it. Oh, you really can't hit tempo at the moment. I would like to see how it works in terms of the distance into the wind. I think I've got too much club, or too little rather, the wedge. Oh, let's go right this time. Yeah, I think it's going to need one more club than that. And as you can see, there's a lot of kind of janky breaks in and around that. And that, when I'm noting down, I'm just putting down flatten pin. We're getting steadily worse. But yeah, all I'm putting down is flatten pin on 10, and in my mind that basically means just make around that area a bit more friendly. it's not necessarily flatten the pin itself. Okay, so yeah, it's a little bit more than the wedge for me. But we've got some, yeah, pretty wonky breaks there, which is partly me just trying to get this green in the right place. Right then, on to 11. I think this will become, I mean, all of the par 5s are pretty easy, but I think this will be the easiest of them. It's a very forgiving tee shot. You can just hit it pretty much anywhere and try to shorten the hole. The green's got some challenge to it, but I don't think anything that's going to pose anyone real problems. Unless you smash it way right. And a lot of it filters the ball towards the pins. Okay, so we've left it high. This is a good. This is the one place I reckon we can make a number from. If you hit it too, it might be too hard. It's on a good line though. Yeah, just a bit too hard. I mean, I think that putt is doable, but let's check just in case. Basically, want it if you. I don't want it to be that you just have to tiptoe it over. But the idea, if you get it to that slope and then it feeds it down. Yeah, so that's going over not at dead weight, but yeah, so you could leave that shorter than that, that's fine. Cool. 12 then. I think 3 wood for this. Yeah, started out a little bit right, but that's okay. Now this has been one that I've worked at this green a lot. Yeah, I think this is still a bit too extreme in terms of the left to right sloping. So note that down. Be interested to see how it reacts when it does hit the green. Oh no, it doesn't. Yeah, we're going to need to just... I think it's all come from trying to sort out the left-hand side of that green first, and then it's just pushed all of that slope further down. So that's a pretty easy fix. 13 looks good. Interesting with into wind, driver might be the play. Oh, that's going to go in the bunker, I think. Nope, heavy rough instead. I just want to see if it is how far it goes down the hill, because I've play tested the recovery shot from there already. Cool, that's pretty good. And yeah, one other change I made to this green was this all just felt a little flat, but I quite liked having a back left pocket to encourage people to try and chase it in. And it creates some interesting putts if you miss like this. Oh, at least I get to show you this. Right, it's not necessarily a difficult putt, but you are having to judge the up and down nature of it. And that'll be quite fun. Again, it's quite a simple green, or at least in concept. Right, so this is one of those pins that I have played already, because I switched pin sets round after I played pin 1. Oh, it's quite a dicey tee shot. It's pretty scary, that one. I think 14 is going to be the toughest of the threes. Yeah, so I have already play tested this pin. We're going to go back afterwards and play test. There's this, and I want to say 17, I think. Now on this one, as I say, I removed the OB, but we'll just check that. Wind's quite forgiving here. I did also add a couple of trees just to the left here to catch anything pulled and not quite high enough. But like, I want a stock, that could be really good. I want a stock driver reaching. There we are. It's just a fun shot. Right, it's not the most... it's more a heroic hole really than a strategic one. I think it will play better if you have a shorter driver. But if you have the longest driver, you can reach. 16, I've done some sculpting and work just on that creek side. Let's just play up to the top of the hill. It kind of rolls down. You can play for the flat, you can roll halfway down, you can try and roll the whole way down. There's different ways to play that approach, that tee shot. Try and figure out what the back is and what the downslope is going to do. That's pretty good. Okay, just a little over. Doesn't need to roll miles away, but that will do it. And a bit of slope on that pin, but I think that's fine. Hey, nearly there. 17. I don't think I've played this pin before, no. That's a dreadful shot. Well, Oh. Now there is quite a lot of slope on this one, but actually I think it's just the angle I'm approaching at. I've put it in the one place you really can't. So this is just going to go. Yep. Quite like this green. It sits in pretty comfortably. Oh, how about a double? There we go. And 18 looks long on the card, but in reality it's not that difficult. Oh, we're gonna put it way right. Okay, so that'll be not reachable, but I don't think we can judge it off that tee shot. Go on, get in the bunker. There we go. I wanted to test from here, so that's good. Might need to flatten that pin just a little. I like the slopes on it. I would just rather that the slope wasn't going all the way towards the edge of the green. That should just be short. Oh, we got a good bounce. There we are. Yeah, clubhouse looks okay. it's a thing. It's not bad for the amount of time I put into it. Yeah, it's that slope right at the end that I want to lose. Okay, so +1 for that round. That's absolutely fine. So now what we're going to do is just go through and kind of go back in reverse order, because these ones are clearest in my mind. So we're going to start with this one. I think partly it's just raising up the edge of that bunker to flatten it out. Didn't need much. This is all I really wanted it to do. Although there's still a couple of stubborn beads there that we'll try and work through. I don't really want it falling towards the back of the green, so see if we can raise it up just a little. It's this combination of just gentle raises off the green and then flattening out so that they're a bit more consistent. That's probably good enough. Let's see if we can do a little better. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, what else do I have to look at? So the next one back, we had 10 and 12, those pins. So yeah, as you can see, this tier is quite half-baked. It's got a lot going on that small little shelf. So we're just going to flatten this, and actually that'll probably help with the pin below it as well, because it'll create more of a backstop. Possibly just a little too high as well. So flattening that out, and that is, to be honest, that should be all we need really. Yep, happy with that pin in a little pocket. I think we're good there. Yeah, maybe a tiny bit more back towards, just to stop balls that are heading towards the edge. Doesn't do much, but you don't want them rolling over. Right, the other one we needed to look at was 12. So let's go over there. So here, yeah, it's to do with the size of that slope. It's just impossible to get that amount without creating yellow slopes. So we're just going to raise up this front corner. We've got a little bit of space to play with in front of the green, and then we can just flatten it out. And that should do it. That pin's fine, and that should still feed down towards that one. That's good. Right. Next up, I had this bunker on 8 that I didn't love, so I wonder whether I've just missed a spot. It looks like that could be the kind of popping effect. Yeah, you can see it just sitting down a little, and then there as well. There we go. Now that said, the sculpting's still not great, so part of it is this sand flashing up more than I wanted it to. So I'm just going to try and lower the edge of the bunker. Lots of this gets much easier when you go down to eye level, and obviously with practice as well that helps, but the closer up you can see it, and make a difference to how it presents back from the tee. Okay, the rest of that looks fine. happy with that one. Right, we then wanted to, so next on my list was 2 and 5 and swapping some pins. So I just want to check which ones we've got where, because we've got so there's 3 front pins between the 2 greens, which are the most dangerous ones on greens that go front to back. So we just want to check which ones those are. So pin 1 is in that left pocket and then the right pocket, 2 is front, 4 is front. Okay, so we've got 2. Pin 4 is the problem because we've got 2 of them that are at the front basically doing this, asking the same question. So 1 is fine, kind of like 1 there, but actually 1 at the front would probably solve a lot of the issues because then we won't have, yeah, I think that's the thing to do. So all we can do is just swap these around, try and be as precise as I can, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Oh, sometimes the controller just gets a bit sticky, that'll do. Okay, happy enough with that. I did have to flatten this area as well. I think it came from that shoulder off the right of the green, so if we lower that a little bit, doesn't need to be much, and then we can do some flattening just to smooth out some of those slopes. It's worth remembering that flattening is also going to create a more severe slope elsewhere. So on the front of the green it's now gotten a bit more severe because of how I've flattened that. Which is fine. We're just going to move the pin a bit further forward. That way you've just got to clear that, but you're not going to run away immediately after the pin because that does tend to frustrate people. Now, are we going to extend second fairway? I don't really think anyone's going to use it. Why not? It's not going to hurt anyone to give them extra fairway outright. I wonder about tightening in this corner a little bit more as well. I don't think you need to. We'll extend it right though. Someone will be able to use that fairway, I'm sure. And we'll just smooth it out. Yeah, I don't need to cut that corner in anymore. Okay, so that's 2. I wish I could make it so that it gave you a 3-wood off the tee, but I don't think that's doable. Oh yeah, and then we need to flatten those tees, don't we? So we'll do that bit next. So I think it was just 2 and 3 that I needed to sort. And then we're very much into final checks, which is exciting. So I don't think I had any notes on 1. Okay, so we'll save. Okay, now to quickly play test the pins I haven't yet played. So pin 1 on this was originally, say, pin 4, I can't remember which, but I moved it after playing round 1. So I think this one you can just work the ball in from the right. That should do. Yeah, can go straight at it. Or can hopefully bounce it on. And 17 was the other one, so I think it's the front right. Yeah, front right one's the one that I haven't yet played. Kind of a similar feel, really. If those are both on pin 1, maybe I want to move one. That's nice. That's a fun shot. And I think all of those slopes are okay, it's just slowing the ball down. I did have a big runoff, which was unintended to the right, but that now seems to have been sorted. Okay, so pin 1 front right on that, and on 14 as well, and I think on 10 is front pin. Whereas 4, wait, where's 4? Oh yeah, 4 I think is back, yes. And 8 we played it back as well. So I think it'd be good to move one of these. Which one would be a good pin? That would be a good pin one. There may be a reason why I moved it front left, but I think generally this makes more sense. I don't really want par 3s to pull. People tend to remember groups of holes, like if you've played all front pins on a par 3, that's something that you'll easily remember. Whereas I think it's harder for people to remember stretches of holes in a row. Not by much, but just a little. Okay, so that's that. Now all we're going to do is just go around and just double check on things like pars, and that I've multi-pinned everything. Yeah, I think this was all fine. Cool. Okay, were there any other pins that I hadn't played? I think I want to check 10 and 12, just to make sure those now work with those little changes. Yeah, that's much better. Happy with that. Pitching wedge still won't be enough club, but we'll give it a go. Oh, we got a perfect this time. Yeah, so you have to really chase it back there to make that tier, which I think is good. But as you can see, it will roll you back towards the, was it pin 3 I think I had there, or 2 in that little, in the bowl. Okay, so that's that one. And let's have a little look at 12. So again, just a 3-wood down there. Ended up in pretty much the identical spot as last time. Yes, this looks much more like it. And you have that feeder slope as well, so you can go right at it. Oh, it leapt out a bit right, which was worrying, but that slows up nicely. I think downwind it would be more fiery as well. I wish that approach played a bit longer, but what can you do? Not everything can be 490. That works. Okay, so final checks then. We are pretty much done. So first thing is just look at the scorecard. So I found 13 had changed recently, but I'm expecting 3 par 5s and 5 par 3s for a par 72. Not the longest course at all, but yeah, these seem about right. So I'll just go through one by one and just check those are what I remember. And then because I'm paranoid, I'll also do it in the designer just so I can scoot around and see them. Now I know I've done tees, I've done pins, I've done bunkers. Those are kind of the 3 main ones. So all we'll do is we'll just look at the top left and where it says hole. So par and hole. I'll go through this pretty quickly, so apologies if that gives anyone vertigo. It's just because I'm literally just looking at that bit, but with the hole in view so that it reminds me of what that hole actually is. Yep, 4, 5, good. 3, 4, and then we should finish 4, 3, 4. And 4, lovely. Oh, and we also lost that tree between 1 and 18 because it didn't really work for me in the end. Okay, so we're going to save and I'm going to hit the publish button. Oh, and I found a name of somewhere I liked, just Googling river names. Now for publish pictures, there's quite a few I could go for. Do like, this is obviously the postcard hole, but I don't feel that's necessarily representative of the course as a whole, although it does look good. What does? So we could look at the brook. That's quite nice. Doesn't work as much. So I'd love if the flag was in shot. I do like this as well. This is a nice. I really like how that bit's come out, but again, not totally representative of the course necessarily. Does look good though. There's a lot of nice simple views. I don't think 1 or 18 is. Maybe we go for 2 like this. That's nice and simple. And There we go. And so that's the answer to our question of how long does it take to come up with a course. 21 hours, 45 minutes and 11 seconds. This is definitely one of the quicker builds that I would do, and the style lends itself to that. Hopefully you've enjoyed the series, and see you again soon.